I have no doubt that COVID-19 is the greatest threat to humanity we have ever faced. Not because of a virus. That is just one chapter of a much longer, more complex story, but because of our response to it. And that response is, I believe, earning its place in every single medical ethics textbook that will be published in the next century. What can we do? As Canadian chemist and author Orlando Batista said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. In our world, politeness, getting by, flying under the radar seem to be the goals. Gone are the 60s revolutionaries, gone are the patriots of early America. We are the victims and the soldiers of a pandemic of compliance. But compliance is not a virtue. It isn't neutral, and it certainly isn't harmless. When Hannah Arendt covered the trial of Adolf Eichmann for The New Yorker in 1961, she expected to find a complex, arrogant, diabolical, perhaps psychotic man. What she found was quite the opposite. She was struck by his very ordinariness. He was terribly and terrifyingly normal, she wrote. A man who was just following orders, as he said over and over again. What she found was what she called the banality of evil, the thoughtless tendency of ordinary people to obey orders in order to conform without thinking for themselves. The dismissive, well-rehearsed messaging of our public health officials has created a highly efficient machine that does not publish its evidence or engage in debate, but only issues orders that we obligingly follow. With the help of the media, its mistakes are hidden, its policies unquestioned, its dissenters silenced. How do we break this silence? How do we regain our sanity and rebuild our democracy? Perhaps it's time to get a little bit noisy. Studies have proven that once an idea, yes. Studies have proven that once an idea is adopted by just 10% of the population, that is the tipping point when ideas, opinions, and beliefs will be rapidly adopted by the rest. So a vocal, a noisy 10% is all it takes. Yes. Democracy, which comes from a couple of Greek words, there's some ancient philosophy for you tonight. Democracy, which means rule of the people, doesn't just allow for freedom of expression and inquiry, it requires it. And the little secret I promised you at the beginning, here it is. You aren't a bad person for demanding evidence. You aren't a bad person for trusting your instincts. And you aren't a bad person for wanting to think for yourself. In fact, the opposite is true. If you are worried about a loss of justice, if you are worried about what kinds of lives will be possible for our children, if you want your country back, the country that was once the envy of the world, then now is the time to act. There is no reason to wait. There is no luxury or excuse to wait. We need you now. Now is the time to call your politicians and write to our newspapers. Now is the time to protest. Now is the time to challenge and even disobey our governments. As Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. In other words, you don't need a tribe of heroes, a mass of heroes, a country of heroes. You only need one. You can do your part and you can make a difference. The Southwest Airlines pilots, the Canadian Mounties, the university health nurses are all making a difference. And the favor I have to ask you, we need heroes now more than ever. Our democracy is asking for volunteers. Will you be a hero for our country, for our children? Will you be part of the noisy 10%? Right.